Morning everybody, my name's Rick and I'm building a boat in my backyard. Thanks for looking in. I know it's been a while, lots going on, home renos getting in the way. Had some work to do on our RV to get it ready for the Kempville Music Festival in a week or so. That'll be our only trip in the RV this year I think, but nonetheless we had to clear the dead mice out and vacuum everything up and all that kind of good stuff. I'm in the forward cabin again this morning, and although I haven't got too much done in the last few days, I've been working on the cleats that will go against the hull and support the foredeck. There's some fitment issues with that, but it's not totally unexpected. That's the port side. I've had to double up the cleats to make up for the fact that the hull flared out a bit when it was put together on the forms 7 years ago. So as you can see, I'm starting to work towards the bow, and I have to get these all lined up and they'll get glued on. And as I go around to the starboard side, it's been glued on. I glued and screwed it, and then once the glue was set I pulled the screws out and filled the holes, so shouldn't be an issue. I've been trying to figure out what sort of framing I will need underneath the deck to support it. What came with the kit was 1/4 inch ply, and we glassed the underside of it 7 years ago when we had the long table set up and had Gravity on our side working with us. So we will there won't be a hatch in the foredeck, but I want to raise the foredeck up to support the bowsprit. It'll give me room for 2 small lockers on the side, and the chain locker down below here will be fitted in. This area was one of my dumping grounds for excess epoxy glue, so I've got to get in there with my handy dandy sanders and grinders and clean that all up, because I have to finish filleting and taping all these joints, as well as I have to do the backside, which is not going to be fun, but I can't put it off any longer. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is get in here with the vacuum cleaner and clean all this stuff out. And then I can do some sanding so I can glue the cleats on the side. I can only do one side at a time with my handy dandy vice grips, but that's okay. It's still progress. So once the foredeck is on, then I can add the forward end of the cabin, and that will pretty much totally enclose it, which means it's dark, so I've had to add lights, as you can see, and a fan. It was 33 degrees Celsius outside yesterday, and it was about 40 plus degrees in here, so that was pretty warm. I made it to about 2 o'clock in the afternoon before I had to call it quits for the day. So that's where we are. When I find something that's of interest to video, I will. So until then, stand by. I finally got around last week to installing my dust collection system hooked up to central vac, and had I set it up originally, I would have had to have gotten in and out of the boat each time to turn it on and turn it off. So while I was rooting around the internet looking for a remote solution, I actually found one on Amazon for 29 bucks, and there's a little plug hooked into the power strip, and it uses a little remote, and it works just like it's going to save my poor old broken down body a lot of steps in and out of the boat. So I'm going to make some noise and try and clean this place up a little bit. Working in a confined space, you're making a terrible mess. Stuff dust flying everywhere, so I'm going to get to it. So apparently I can't run my air compressor and my handy dandy belt sander at the same time because it blew the breaker, and I just went to reset it. So pretty much the rest of the day is going to be spent sanding on the forward end, so either put in your earplugs or skip the rest of this video. Thanks for looking in. I'm falling down and I can't get up. Fuck it. I guess you haven't had too much of a chance to see the forward end of the boat, as most of the activity is centered around the aft end and getting the main cabin up. But I'm just looking back at some of the work I did probably 4 years ago. It's kind of remarkable how over fiberglassed or whatever, over reinforced the bow that I've done. Just reminded me when I was sanding this section, the inside of the hull has a layer of 1708 and a layer of 12 ounce 090 fabric, so you've got your reinforcing layers going in all points of the compass. Along the chine there are 2 layers of 6 ounce tape and 2 layers of the very heavy structural tape. I think it's 18 ounces per square yard. And this section here, I added an extra layer of the 22 ounce quadraxial fabric that I have to reinforce the inside. The inside of the bow stem probably has 8 layers of tape plus the overlap of the side fabrics. On the outside, the hull has 1708, the 12 ounce 090, and from about here down to back behind the bow thruster tube, there's the 22 ounce triaxial carbon fiber reinforcing. So I've also overdid it quite a bit on the bow thruster tube. There's probably 10 to 12 layers of tape plus the overlap from the side and the bottom fabrics, and you can really see it here. It stands quite proud, so that doesn't have to be faired. It's not a cosmetic part, so I'm not too worried too much about it. But yeah, I overbuilt the front end of this boat quite substantially. Where we live right now, the St. Lawrence River has been in flood for probably 4 months now, since the ice started to break up, and there's all manner of things floating down the river: picnic tables, docks, trees, floating grass islands, logs, you name it. It all ends up in the river, and if you're going to hit anything, it's best to have a pretty strong boat. So that's where I'm at. I'm going to continue sanding. You saw me try to crawl in the anchor locker. I was able to sand down as far as my belly, and that was about as far as I got. So I need to get Connor here. He's nice and small and compact. He can get in there and sand those tight spots for me. But yeah, haven't really relished doing this part, but it's got to be done. So I'm gonna carry on. So that's a little bit of sanding in the front of the boat. I've got these joints over here dressed up. I'll vacuum those out, wipe them down, and tape them tomorrow. It's a little too warm in here for epoxy work right now. It's probably rapidly approaching, it's 11:10, and it's probably 30 degrees outside, so it's another 10 in here, so that's a little too quick. But that's I'll try and botch together a video with the YouTube video with the footage I have. I know it's not exciting, but if you're going to build a boat like this, it's part of the grunt work. I'm sorry. Thanks for looking in. Like, share, and favorite our video if you care to. Bunch of new subscribers. Thanks very much for signing up. There you have it. Stay cool. Stay hydrated. Be good. Thanks.